Hey guys, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Claire. So Claire, welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Good.
So Claire, you are our first ever ISFJ. This is like a huge moment, I think, in op history. I think just we've never seen an ISFJ before. So how do you feel when you got your type back?
Real life. Um, well, ISFJ feels weird because I've never had that type come back in Myers-Briggs test or anything.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've never and even saying ISFJ sounds funny, but when they when they describe it, it sounds right. But I mean, I've taken Myers-Briggs test since college,
Yes.
and I've never gotten that result.
What result do you usually get?
So you'll think this is funny probably. When I was in college, I was ENFP
Oh
always.
wow. That's the opposite almost.
Yeah, but see, I think it was like I just was having fun and enjoying college, and so ENFP was the result. I don't know, but I think that's where I started taking those tests. But then more recently, I've gotten INFJ, which that makes more sense because of the way that my functions are.
Yeah,
INFJ makes probably the most sense. Um, but, well, I mean, outside of ISFJ.
I see. And what kind of ISFJ did you get? Like, what was the complete type?
So for OP, it was SIFE
Mhm.
and blast, sleep, consume, play.
And how did you feel when you got that exact breakdown? Did it make sense to you? You know?
Yeah, yeah, the animals made a lot of sense. Um, and I think I kind of knew SI was coming, like in the back of my mind, but I really started. I mean, it was like a couple days before that result came back. I started thinking, it's SI. Like it just kind of hit me, that was what might happen there,
Yeah,
um, because INFJ would be NI, and that did not feel right as a lead function. So I had been trying to figure out for a long time, like why does that not fit, and what else could it be, and so it made sense, but I really thought SI was a demon for a long time. Because and now it's feminine. I didn't mention that, but it's double feminine, so that kind of makes sense, I guess. There's parts of it that seem demon-like, and maybe that's because it's feminine.
so because your SI is feminine, does that mean even though your lead SI, you have a tendency to be messy and or not as organized as someone that has it masculine?
Yes, probably. Yes. I mean, and I don't know about messy. I really like to be clean. So, um, I'm not, I, I may keep like my area messy, but personally, I'm going to be clean. Um, and, and so I don't know. Then, yeah, I'm not an organizer. Like my pantry is not going to be organized, like you see in pictures on Pinterest, like. And that's kind of why I was thinking, like, this is I have like a weird relationship with this function, because I like clean, but I don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
And that sounds demon like, but I think it's just, I don't want to organize in that way.
Yeah. And then your FE is your extrovert feeling is also feminine. So does that mean you're very easygoing when it comes to what the tribe wants to do, and you're pretty flexible as a result of
Yeah,
that feminine?
yeah, I can be. I mean, I guess that depends on who the tribe is at the moment. If it's like, yeah, for the most part, I'm flexible.
So if it's like family members or friends,
Yeah,
you're pretty
if it's
easygoing.
family members, maybe not so much.
Oh, I see, I see, I see.
Like people closer to me would say, I'm not really so sure she's flexible, but I am in general. Yeah. And I like to make people feel comfortable maybe, and I don't want to make anyone upset.
I see. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care too much about making my family upset, but that's, yeah.
So it sounds like you're tribe above self when it comes to most people except your family member. So when it comes to your family member, you become self above tribe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, and it depends on the circumstance. Yeah, but they would be the only ones that would ever see the self above tribe. That I'll say that.
I see. Because they know you already, and you trust them that they're not gonna, like leave or something. Because
yes.
Is it also because you have masculine TI, so your identity is masculine, so you're really balanced in the middle when it comes to self and tribe? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because it's also double activated, and so I see the TI a lot. When I got that type back, that made a lot of sense, because I was trying for the longest time to figure out the tribe over self component, and I really couldn't figure it out. I knew I had feminine tribe relations, but I couldn't figure out which was above which.
Like it was way too close. Like it was almost 50-50, you mean?
That's how it felt. And now I can see TI in a demon state and how that plays out. But then when I was trying to figure it out on my own, I just couldn't figure that out. But yeah, it's very balanced.
So you said that you can see your TI in a demon state. Can you talk about that then? Like how do you see it in a demon state?
Yeah, so let's see. And I don't know, I haven't made complete sense of all this yet, but I think that I see it like turning in on myself a lot, and being like self-critical.
Oh.
And so I think that's TI. I'm not positive, but that would make sense that it would be coming from a demon state. In a masculine demon state, I would have these like self-conscious and self-critical thoughts that were pretty substantial, because it's double activated. It's common in my life, at least,
to have those self-critical moments.
Yeah.
So TI is, also looking for logical consistency. So sometimes when people say something to you, do you ever say, "Oh, that doesn't make any sense"?
Yes. Yes. But again, I'm sorry, hang on just a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so I would say he's not allowed to answer the questions, but if he was, he would have said yes to that.
Oh, okay.
That's my husband.
That's funny.
So, yeah, but probably not to just a general population, friends and the public. I don't think I would talk like that.
I see. So because you are an IJ, you fear chaos. Can you talk about your fear of chaos for a bit? Like, have you ever had any chaos tidal waves in your life? Or let's start with that, and then I'll have follow-up questions.
So those would be common, and that is, I probably knew I was an IJ the whole time, but yeah, I think we have 4 little kids, and so there's chaos everywhere. This should have been very telling up front. When my 4th baby was born, I said the word chaos probably in a demon state so many times that my 3rd child thought it was a real person in our house and was scared of chaos. That's awful. But
that's so funny.
Yeah, so that should have been very telling. But yeah, it's like, just an example today, I brought a watermelon home and was cutting that with all 4 of my children in the kitchen, and they're all saying, I want some first. And then the watermelon was dripping onto the floor and I didn't realize that. And the floor had just been cleaned and
Yeah.
I kind of had a freak out. That kind of stuff is, and that's a silly one, but that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Where when there's too much like that going on, I just kind of shut down or freak out.
You just get really overwhelmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if the watermelon is dripping all over the floor, do you just clean it up right away, or do you freak out first before you clean it?
Maybe both. It just depends on how quickly, because I'm thinking somebody's going to step in that and they're going to track it through the house. And which again, it's so silly for me to say this because I know that then we'll just clean it up. Big deal, but I feel like those issues can compound and then it almost turns into an energy thing too. I have play last and yet I feel responsible for cleaning. So I feel like I have to constantly control the amount of cleanings that I have to do because I know I'm going to run out of energy.
I see. That makes sense. I was just thinking when you were talking about if let's say the watermelons start dripping on the floor and someone steps in it and it all over the house, it seems like you were having kind of like an NE demon state there where you were thinking about the future, like you were making a connection with people stepping on the watermelon and then dragging it all over the house.
Yes. And NE's masculine. So
yeah.
I almost am seeing that happen,
Yeah.
That's going to happen. And it may not.
Right. Because it's masculine. So you feel like it is going to happen. It's not like, is it going to happen? It's like, yes, it's going to happen. That's why it's a huge freak out.
Once I get that in my mind, then I think that's what's going to happen. And so I'm already planning what I need to do to prevent that from happening when it may not even happen. So.
And because it's such a demon state, like you almost have no control over it. It just it just pops out of nowhere and then you freak out.
In that moment, yes. Yeah, in that moment, I feel like I don't have much control over it. Like right now, I can say, oh yeah, that probably wasn't going to happen. But at that moment, it feels uncontrollable.
Yeah. No, I understand. So because you are an IJ, so they said that opposites attract. Is your husband then an EP as a result?
We're not sure yet. I don't know. He seems maybe. I mean, and I would not say that he's not an IJ for sure.
Yeah.
But he may be an IP.
Oh.
So he's either an IP or an EP.
Is he introverted or extroverted? Would you say?
It's so hard to tell. We're both fairly borderline there.
Yeah.
And now that I have my type back, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. On Myers-Briggs test, I always tested like 51%, or
Yeah.
And that I'm right in the middle. So I think he is too.
It's because you have the blast first. Is that right?
Yeah. Is it? I haven't sorted that out. Yes. But I think he probably has play first.
Oh, play first.
So he wouldn't be, I don't know, either consume or play first. I don't know. But play is high because he is who plays at our house.
And do you think he uses, because if he's either SE or NE then, so do you think he's NE first or SE first?
I think he's SE.
SE? So ESFP or ESTP?
Yeah, either one.
Is he a risk taker?
Yeah, I can be. Uh-huh.
And how does that make you feel when he's taking all this risk?
He doesn't do now. He doesn't really a lot. It was more just life is just kind of more planned now than it used to. It's not nearly as sporadic as it used to be able to be because we've got the 4 kids and he works kind of long hours. And so there's just not much time for, a lot of craziness.
But before you had the 4 kids, what was it? What was it like?
Yeah. He used to be like, we went, we love to hike. Both of us do, but he likes the high places, and I get all sweaty in the high places.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so I don't know. That's why I've kind of thought maybe he's an IP and SE second, because he's not an extreme risk taker. So I don't know.
So maybe like feminine SE then?
No, it's masculine.
It's masculine.
It's masculine, yeah. But it's he was, and I think, he was big into working out and drove fast cars, and I don't know. I associate that with masculine SE.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, probably.
Before, we had children, but yeah, I hope I haven't killed that. Maybe I did. That's part of him,
You just had an NE moment there. We connected connections.
Like maybe that's my IJ fault.
Yeah.
No, it is just a different phase of life, but yeah, so I've considered TISE for him before. And that would put him at ISTP.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that might be right. He looks a lot like Tom Bilyeu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's totally anecdotal, but I think that might be right.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That would mean you're both, I guess, borderline introverted then. Or
yeah,
slightly more introverted, because you're slightly more introverted than extroverted, right? Because play is last.
Yes. Yeah. And activated sleep. So yes.
That's interesting that you told me that you like hiking, because you play last, right? So people would assume that you maybe you're a couch potato or something, but
well, yeah, maybe so. No, I'm not a couch potato though. And I love to run. I don't get to do it as much as I used to. But I used to run long distances, and
oh wow.
And I really like that. I'm not competitive at all, so I don't care. I'm like the turtle,
Yeah.
I don't care who beats me. I just like to finish that race, and so it's like I feel like that SITI sleep is like this internal self-discipline kind of thing, like I use that as my driving force in like school, and then also in athletics, but not really not team sports. Not when anyone else is relying on me. That's too much pressure.
So you were quite athletic then when you were younger, in the long distance kind of realm?
I guess. That was never my goal.
It wasn't, but did it happen though? Even though it wasn't?
Probably. I just liked the exercise, and I liked the peace. So it needed to, I didn't want to run with a friend. I wanted to run by myself,
Oh, interesting.
So I just like the time to process, but also be exercising. So
you felt it was kind of therapeutic to go on a solo runs?
Oh yeah. In fact, I probably need to do more of that now.
There you go. Now you made some more NE connection there.
Yeah.
Go get back to running. For some sanity, because you have 4 kids now too. So
yes.
Yeah.
Lots of energy. They are not play last.
Now you have double masculine consume. So what's that like?
Okay, so that's TINE.
Yeah. So you're trying to learn things for yourself.
Yeah.
And you're getting from like abstract concepts for yourself.
So I love to read, but I can see where maybe that is a hobby. I was considering consume last even, because I like to read so much, but I don't, I'm not very disciplined in that. And maybe that's where the NE demon comes in, because I'm like always checking books out from the library, and then I never read them all. And it gets to the point where I've rechecked and then I've got to take them back. And so I don't know. It's kind of weird. I haven't made sense much of consume. But I don't like TV much. I never really watched videos on the internet until getting into OP. So reading is the only consume that I can kind of make sense of in my life. And I'm probably not even a very good listener. I have to work at that.
Oh yeah, but at least you have very good self-awareness. Like,
I don't know.
You know yourself well.
I'm older. I probably wasn't very self-aware at
Yeah.
all even years ago. I don't know.
So it sounds like you might be consumed last, actually. Maybe they have you considered, maybe they kind of like switch the play and the consume, because it seems like you're using play a lot too when we're talking.
Well, yeah, maybe. So the only part, the consume third, is what makes the TI double activated. So that made sense to me. But yeah, maybe not. Play does, I don't know, from my video I can see where they would get play last, because you're not talking back and forth. My energy was really low in the videos, and so I don't know.
Is it
I'm not sure how they came up.
Do you think it's possible in that video you were low energy? Maybe like if they caught you on another day, like maybe you wouldn't be as low energy?
I did 2 videos, but I couldn't get the program to work, and so I had to video over and over. I lost an hour-long video.
Oh no!
Yeah, that was pretty sad. But so yes, by the time I filmed it, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow!
Because I stayed up so late, because I kind of can procrastinate, and so I had waited until like the last second, and then decided I'm gonna do this month, and so yeah, I stayed up all night trying to get that video done. So yeah, I was probably pretty tired.
And you also said that you don't watch videos much and you don't watch TV much. How did you discover OP then? Like, because it doesn't seem like, if you're not consuming, like, how did you find it to begin with?
Yeah, so it was on YouTube. So I'm trying to think how that came about. My husband and I both did some just searching into I mean, I'm always the one that has dug into personality typings and learning. I think I was learning the functions because I'd taken Myers-Briggs test, and that never really did anything, and I never really needed it to do anything, I guess. In college, I wasn't really that interested in, I liked psychology, but it wasn't important to know that much about myself. But I guess I'd gotten to a point in life where now I have children, and I felt like I need to dig deeper into who I am to figure out why I do some of the things I do and how to be a better parent. And so I'd started looking into the functions. So I think that was how it was. I intentionally went searching for more information there. And then he kind of caught on to that with me some. And I think that's how we found it. We were learning through a couple different teachers on YouTube. And then I read some about it, and I can't remember where that was. But yeah.
Feminine SI right there, I guess.
Yes. See, that's why I thought it was a demon. I have a pretty terrible memory.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I have a friend who's an ISTJ, and last year we had a fight. It was a pretty big fight. We didn't talk for a whole year. And yesterday, we're friends again. And yesterday I brought it up to him, right? Like, we had a fight last year. He's like, "What fight?" And I was like, it was a pretty big fight, like we didn't talk for a whole year. And he was like scratching his head, like it's like as if it never happened. I'm like, oh my God, I think he has feminine SI, like you're just forgetting things all the time. And I'm like, that's crazy. I didn't realize this was what feminine SI was like. Like you just forget things, you know?
That's great. And that's an observer moment too, right? Like not remembering the fight. That seems, yeah.
Yeah, like it was like legitimate. Like he wasn't acting. He was actually confused. He was like, "What fight?" You know, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like you just.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it can be pretty intensely bad. Yeah. Where I have forgotten like whole people that were parts of my life. You know, that my husband will say, "Remember that person from?" Like, oh yeah, I forgot about them. So
Okay, so I guess your husband is the one that has the masculine sensory that kind of reminds you of what happened before.
so I think so. But yeah, he's not very timely. I think that's it. I did a post about that where like neither one of us can get out of the house in time.
Oh, you're both not punctual?
Yeah. So I'm not sure what that is. But with 4 kids, I mean, it's impossible. But we were not really punctual before then.
Yeah, so that's not the kids then.
It's not the kids. But they are a good excuse now. Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of getting distracted, and then I don't know, maybe it's feminine sensory. I have to sort through that some more. But yeah, and that's when time management is super hard for me. So I'm not sure what that falls under. Maybe feminine sensory, but that was another reason I kind of thought I must not be. I must be more of an intuitive dominant and sensory demon, because I get distracted easily, and I'll forget what I'm supposed to be doing in order to get out of the house, or I'll think, okay, I've got a 10-minute time block. I can do these 5 things, and there's no way they'll fit into 10 minutes. But I think that every time, and it never works. So I'm not sure.
In a weird way though, like even though you have feminine sensor, like introvert sensing, because you have masculine extrovert intuition, like you are aware of the future, even though it's in a demon state. Like even though, because I know a lot of ISFJs in my life too, and like my mom is an ISFJ, for example, and she has masculine SI, so my mom is extremely controlling. Like she controlled everyone in our family, especially my INFJ sister. It's terrible. Like, can you imagine an IJ controlling an IJ? That's
yes.
It's really weird. But my mom has feminine NE, right? So she cannot make any connections whatsoever. Like it, even right now, she's in her 60s now, and she just like it making a connection is so difficult for her. Like she absolutely cannot see it. Like she couldn't figure out why my IJ sister kept rebelling towards her when we were younger. She just couldn't make that piece of connection. Well, for you, even though your NE is, your fourth function demon, you knew about the watermelon thing. Like, if someone steps on a watermelon, they're going to bring it all over the house. Like you can see it. Like it's there, So that for me, it's like amazing that masculine NE, even though it's fourth, you know what it looks like, even though it's a demon.
Yes. So maybe it is activated more, because if I were play third, then it would hardly be activated at all. Is that right? Yes. Only through consume. Well,
it could, because you would get your information from people instead, right? Like, and I know, like, you said that play likes to get information from other people, and it seems like you're quite active in the Facebook group, always ask engaging people and stuff. So it's very, it does seem, to me, I don't know, like I said, your play and consume is very close, so it's hard, it's really hard.
And it could be this, I've wondered about this all along, like where I know you're not supposed to change throughout life, but how your functions could appear differently, especially the animals at different stages of life. Because I think like 10 years ago, maybe I would have done more consuming and digging on my own to learn things. But now I don't really have much time to do that. And so it's quicker to go to the Facebook group and say, hey, does anybody know about this? Than to try to look into it myself, because I've got children running around the house, and so I'm thinking, let's just do it's quick, So I don't know. I'm not sure how to I mean, that doesn't really matter too much, but yeah, I don't know how to make that distinction. But I think sometimes that's my motivation is I've got this question, I'm going to forget it, feminine sensory, if I don't ask it. And so I'd rather ask it of the group right then and maybe learn something than try to hold on to it, maybe forget it, and then not ever get to another source. I don't know.
So you think it's because of your feminine introvert sensing, and also because you have save your sleep, so you're trying to conserve your energy because you have so many kids running around. So
Yeah.
it's quicker to just get it from the people instead of research it yourself, because that's going to drain more energy.
Yes, and I think sometimes maybe the FE makes me more tuned into them than I would be otherwise, tuned into them and their needs maybe, because I have a hard time just like doing something else and ignoring, maybe like a fight that's breaking out in another room or something. I'm really tuned into if somebody's not being treated fairly, or I hear someone crying, or so I really have a hard time concentrating when all 5 of us are in the house together.
So you're always in tune to the to the feelings of everyone around you, like because of that savior FE. Like
I think so, and there's lots of feelings in this house. Oh, that's what it was. I had when I said earlier, like if play were higher, then FE would be
double activated then.
Would be double activated, right? Instead of TI.
And it kind of makes sense because you said you're always in tune with people's feelings. So so it's, well, Dave and Shan always said that that the last 2 letters for the animals is the one that they get mixed up the most, because it's way too close, right? And
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't make sense of it myself, so I can understand that. But yeah, I am in tune with my kids for sure, and I feel very much like their emotions are something I need to help with.
Yeah.
But if it's something that they're not sorting through well themselves, if there's a fight, I feel like I need to be involved, even though I know that I would like for them to work it out on their own.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to not jump in, especially if I feel like one side is treating the other side unfairly.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I've lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was going to say.
That's okay.
Something along those lines. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. One of the reasons why I think you might have played third instead of consume is since we started the interview, you would like think about stuff that happened to you before, and then you would like laugh at yourself. So it seems like you would like you're almost like doing like a lot of like play energy there. Like you're like, oh yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, that's funny. And it's.
I do. I know. I do laugh at myself a lot.
Yeah.
And that's always been part of who I am. That's not a new thing. So yeah, maybe so.
Maybe something you can ask Dave and Shan in the future.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that play and consume, it seems way too close. Like it's,
Yeah.
And it seems like you actually use play. Like when I'm talking to you, I feel like, because I've interviewed so many people now, and I know when I'm talking to someone with play last, it's very obvious, because it's not a back and forth conversation, but like when I'm talking to you, it feels quite back and forth actually. So I don't know. It's just like the vibe I'm getting. So
yeah, maybe so. Maybe I don't want you to be uncomfortable with the.
It's
FE.
possible too. Yeah, it's possible. That's also possible.
Yeah, I do feel like the culture I live in is an FE culture. I mean, where I told you I live, and it's deep south, and it just that seems like the norm, at least in the friends that we have, and my kids' friends' parents, and there's this kind of expectation of social, or maybe I guess emotional awareness, and emotional care for others, kind of. So yeah, that could be that that's playing into it too. I don't know, but
I love the Southern accent, by the way. It's great.
thanks.
So let's talk about you being a double decider. So does that mean you have a pretty balance with self and tribe? Like when, you know, when someone's upset, like, you know why they're upset, but then you can also see your point of view. Like you see everyone's point of view, kind of.
Kind of. I've had, yes. I mean, and I don't feel like I've had situations though where with certain people, I've had trouble working through things. So I really thought for a while maybe I was a single decider, because of a couple of relationships that I've just not been able to work through. But yes, probably as a rule, I can see both sides. And I'm aware enough of my part. But I can get upset if I feel like the other person, so honestly, it's probably like when there is a decider that I'm having an issue with, I can get upset with the fact that they can't see themselves and their part.
Oh, and it's a specific kind of decider. It's the EJ kind of decider, not the IP.
Probably. Yes. Based on what I said, yes, I feel like, and I have lots of friends that are EJs, so it's not just anyone. But I mentioned this in my video because without working through the terms, I just knew that in life I've run across people that have that don't seem to be able to see themselves and their role in things clearly, and don't try. And so I just felt like they weren't trying to own their own part in a disagreement. And so, but not every EJ does that. You know, some people are very good at searching within themselves to see if they've had any fault too. So, but yeah.
So maybe if the EJ has like masculine FI or TI, then maybe it's kind of like you with the masculine NE.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it. But I think if you have the feminine FI, then that's going to be difficult, or feminine TI.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, and see, that's been part of the reason really that I've, the parenting has been a big reason behind me digging into personality typing, and trying to figure out my own type. But then also that just getting, like, I really used to just handle situations like that where I felt like I'm owning what's mine, and I see where they're coming from, but they don't seem to be owning what's theirs, and I kind of just walk away. But then at this point in life, we now have a few relatives that I feel like fit into that, and so I can't just walk away.
Yeah.
So I'm finding that it helps to learn this stuff so I can say, oh yeah, maybe they do have, maybe they are an EJ that has a feminine, lowest demon, I guess, how you'd say that.
Internal decider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would make sense then, you know, why they're responding that way. So that helps. And that's probably the demon in E, like not knowing why they would do that, you know, puzzling over and never coming to a conclusion.
Yeah. I guess that's why you're studying it now, you know, improving your NE so that, like, you know, next time you meet someone that is having struggles with their self-awareness and, you know, they can't take any fault for what happened because they just don't see like that area, because it, like I said, maybe a single decider, so they only see the group and they're always pointing fingers instead of looking inwards and saying, especially if they have sleep last too, that might make it even harder. Like it's like, oh, you know what, because they didn't take the time to process how they felt, and
Yeah.
and then I guess you can guide them through it then, because you're more aware. You're more aware. Like guide them to the answer, right?
Yes, if that feminine FE will allow me to.
Yeah.
Yes, but at least I can understand it better.
So, how did you feel when the internet blew up and you were the rare ISFJ? Like you're in a very special position right now. You're like the only one that's been officially typed, as an ISFJ. Like, how did you feel? Because everyone was like celebrating almost when you...
That's so weird. I feel like, I don't know. Well, I'm just me, like I don't feel like special,
Yeah.
It doesn't feel special. It's just who I've always been. And that's probably that TI too, like, kind of a little bit of self-criticism, like, that's not special. Like, I don't know. I've never really liked attention.
I see.
So yeah.
Yeah, because it was a big deal when you got your type back. It was like everyone was so excited, right? In the class members,
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't face to face, because my face would have been red. Like I don't like that.
You don't like to draw attention to yourself, you mean?
Yeah, I don't. And see, that almost made me think I was an IP for a little while. But I know that probably is anecdotal, but I don't like being in a spotlight and almost feel like it creates this expectation, and I don't like that pressure.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so now what do I have to do? Because I don't want to perform. So yeah.
No, I don't think you need to do anything. I just think people are like excited to see. It's like, oh my God, it's our first ISFJ. Oh my God, everyone. Actually, like, I have a lead-on question now. So why do you think that there's not so many ISFJs that's involved in personality types? Like I wanted to kind of figure out, like, what do you what is your day job? Do you work right now, or are you?
Well, I'm home with my kids right now.
Okay.
Mostly though, and I made a point of telling Dave and Shan this, we both have careers, but his job is more, he works a lot of hours, and he is more cut out for that, honestly. He loves to work, and he does it well, and I was never, I've never had, I'm a physical therapist, and I've never had like one job that this seems I don't know. I've never had one job that I've gone into every day and just done that consistently, and that kind of sounds difficult for me. So he is the one that is more of the like consistent work. So I don't know. And maybe it is the SF that is the caregiver in me too. I'm probably the better caregiver for our kids.
Yeah. What does your husband do?
He's an engineer.
Oh, he's an engineer. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense for ISTP then.
I think that's right. And he has been called the machine at work before.
Oh, because he's just working nonstop.
Yes. So I am not a machine, and but I do like my career a lot, and so I will go back to that at some point when our kids get a little bigger.
So you help people who got injured, like rehab and whatnot.
Yeah. So when I went to PT school, most of my classmates were doing orthopedics. That was the big draw, and I was never interested in that. Like sports medicine, orthopedics was probably 3/4 of my classmates were going into that area, and I always really liked pediatrics and neuro, but I've done pediatrics and specialized in pediatrics, and I had my own little company that I did pediatrics and just driving around to the patients' homes and stuff.
Did you like that? Like driving to people's homes?
I liked that. Yes, I did. It could get stressful because I did it for maybe like a year before I actually had kids of my own. And then once I had my own kids, I was driving them to daycare and then going and trying to fit this into this, trying to fit my work into like this kind of smallish window and then going back. So that part stressed me out, but I loved what I did. So maybe I'll go back to that at
Like
some point.
you love helping people, make them feel better.
Yeah, I do. So that's the FE, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. The
Mhm.
FE there, and SF makes perfect sense also.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yes.
using your skills, knowledge to, you know, your SI, your TI to go make someone feel better. So
Yeah.
everything's supporting the FE, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So that the career fits me really well, I think. And it's pretty flexible. So and I don't know, maybe that's the NE demon. It's like not wanting to stay in one thing or get kind of stuck. I don't know. In any one area for too long. So I liked, you know what it is? It's the control. I liked having the control. That's what it was. When I owned my own company and I could drive to the homes of these kids,
Yeah.
then I was in charge. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
So you had your own business then? It was your own business that you started?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if that's an ISFJ thing. My mom started a business too. Like she keeps doing it. So I was like,
Yeah.
interesting. So you would not think that ISFJs are very entrepreneurial, but you guys are
I
entrepreneurial.
know. I do feel like that's why I guess I'm still kind of struggling with the ISFJ title because I feel like it's this it seems like this like old squishy grandma type like
Yeah, but it's not though. Like, you guys are.
really.
I think it's just misconception. You know, it's
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, I do like old things. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Well, I think the other misconception, like the one thing that surprised me, like since talking to you, is like I never thought of ISFJs being in athletics. Like you were a long distance runner. You're now doing physical therapy. Like that's very like
Yeah.
SE like, but then you're there. You're not like area. You know.
Yeah. So I know, I guess if you were typing, you could think it was masculine until you heard how much I forget.
Yeah.
I don't think that fits. I really, Shan mentioned this too in my audio that the SITI sleep is geared for running, like for
Oh,
being a
really? Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing.
And I had talked about it in my video, but she said it almost like she didn't remember whether I had mentioned that or not, but that was something that SITI sleep is kind of known for. I don't know.
Like sleep running.
Yeah, but it's like it's a good time to process. So I don't know. I guess just the ST component is the actual exercise, and then the sleep processing is what you can do while you're running.
Yeah.
But
I want to go back to your NE a little bit. So I noticed this thing with ISTJs and ISFJs that because the NE is last, you know, it's more the abstract world, right? That when it comes to like movies or books, like you have a tendency to gravitate towards fantasy. Like you like
oh yeah.
like do you love like the medieval theme or sci-fi and all that stuff or
No, not, and I'm not heavy into that, but like,
or Harry Potter? Do you like Harry
oh,
Potter?
I love Harry Potter. I mean, I devoured those books with 4 children last summer in like 2 weeks, all of them.
Oh
Which,
wow,
I mean, I know
that's a lot of books.
it's not a short time, but with 4 children, it's a short time. And my poor children didn't have any attention. So good. So yes, that and like Lord of the Rings has always been like one of my favorites. So yeah, but it's books. I mean, I really don't watch many movies.
So you read the Lord of the Rings books or did you watch the Lord of the Rings films?
I have watched the films like once, but I've read the books a number of times. And then
So maybe you have consumed third then, because if you're consuming them, and it's masculine consume, right? So like, you know, when you said that your kids didn't get any attention, like the moment you start consuming, no one can wake you up from that. Like
that's true. Yeah, that's it.
Like you're almost entranced. Like no one can, like,
you got it.
The world fades away, and you're just in that world of consume.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it is the TINE, you're right, would be like geared towards fantasy.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So that makes sense. I probably don't need to pick up any more fantasy books this summer.
Did you like Game of Thrones also then?
I never got into that.
No, okay.
It was kind of like I knew not to touch it right now because my SIT, sleep told me not to touch it with 4 children in the house.
Yeah, I guess later on you can touch it, because then that's gonna be deadly.
I will have to.
It's gonna be deadly if you touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, movies, I have always been drawn towards like abstract type movies. Did you ever see The Butterfly Effect?
Yeah.
That was kind of a strange one when I was little, but I mean younger. I was probably a teenager. But that one, I was always kind of drawn towards movies like that. So I don't know if that's any or not.
I think so. It sounds very NE to me. Yeah, because it's like a weird concept, like, you know, like looking deeper, and you travel in a different world and travel back in time and whatever. So let's talk about another NE demon or IJ kind of obsession. So Dave and Shan said IJs are obsessed with conspiracy theories. Do you feel like you're obsessed with conspiracies, and like when people start talking about conspiracies, you're like, your eyes light up and you're like, oh my God, you know, tell me more.
Yes. I think now, so like, I might have to think of examples though. Like as a parent, maybe like the vaccine community has been interesting to me. But I haven't gotten completely sucked into that. But we did like, I was more so than my husband, interested in like, let's look into these vaccines and make sure that they're appropriate for, and my dad's a pediatrician. He was probably like, can you just listen to my advice? But I wanted to look into that, you know, and make sure that we weren't getting the wool pulled over our eyes about vaccines. Yeah.
I see. So a little bit then, not, but you don't seem overboard with it though, with like conspiracies.
I don't think so with conspiracy stuff. Is that more NI? I don't know.
Yeah, it's well, my mom is obsessed with conspiracies also. So it sounds like very IG, like obsessed with conspiracies. But yours is more similar to just more fantasy books. Like you're more obsessed with like the fancy stories, you know, as opposed to this.
And I have fears though. I really do have fears. Like, and see, I didn't even mention this. And now once I was typed as SI, I was like, wow, I've just kind of had things come to me, like the fear of heights. I don't like elevators. I don't like airplanes, you know, that sort of thing. That,
like you lose control then? You feel like you're losing control in those places?
I think that's it. Yes. Like I used to want to meet the pilot when I would get on an airplane, because if I didn't know him, like maybe he'd been drinking, maybe that's so silly, but I mean, obviously he was, but just, I didn't know who he was. Like, I can't trust him to fly this plane. And, you know, I just those thoughts would go through my mind, and I was able to quiet them, but it was hard.
Yeah. I guess you would use your TI to quiet them. Like,
yeah, maybe so.
Like logically,
yes. Like logically, why would he be flying a plane if he, you know,
yeah.
But they're true fears though, for sure. So I don't know about conspiracy.
I think I get why you're not super crazy with the conspiracy stuff, because you do have it sounds like you do have consumed third then. So because people with low consume don't do any researching at all, you know, like digging deeper, so they just kind of,
Okay.
make up a story in their head of what happened. Like, I don't know if you heard of looping, like people, especially with sleep first, they kind of get stuck in their head and they kind of live in that world of like their own like made up fantasy world, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And they don't look at reality, and you need to use consume to see reality. And I think for you, you are seeing the reality as a result of having consume.
Yeah.
And when so I guess for you it's not a huge thing. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm almost 100% sure my mom is sleep first and consume last. So it would make sense why my mom would obsess with that. My one of my sister also consume last, INFJ, and I'm pretty sure she's also sleep first, and they're both obsessed with conspiracy theories. So I guess it's like that inner world, because you're blast first, right? So you're more like, you don't really live in the inner world. You actually talk to people and stuff, and figure.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
But I like, that's why I think play last does fit, in the sense that sleep double activated makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
I live in my head a lot. I used to journal a lot as a kid and on into college. I have like volumes of journals.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like to live in my head, but I can talk to people. Like I think I can come across as an extrovert, maybe because of that. Just in settings where I'm familiar enough to go in and speak to people and then go home and rest.
Get your energy back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that.
All right, Claire, we're gonna wrap up the interview pretty soon. I just have I guess 2 last questions for you, and then we're good to go. So one of my questions to you is, how do you think, what advice can you give any ISFJs out there who's struggling to use their NE? There's chaos that's hitting them everywhere, and like, how can they make that connection that it's not real, that's not likely to happen, like, because even though it's your fourth function, you seem to be aware of it.
Yeah. I don't know. You should come to my house for a day and see if I'm really aware of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true.
I can talk all day about being aware of it. I don't know. I think
or how can you practice it?
maybe anchoring it to the FE helps. Because I know how much it can hurt other people when I get so caught up. And that helps that I have little kids that I'm really concerned about hurting, but being controlling can hurt them so much. I miss out on life with them when I just get concerned with watermelon all over the floor that's going to get tracked through the house, so I don't know. That's hard. And then of course, like in my situation, I can use TI more to logically think through, like, this probably isn't going to happen. It's just your mind playing tricks on you,
You know what I found really interesting about your answer is that, like, they always talk about, as people get older, they kind of discover their demons, right? So
yeah,
for you, you like, your answer was like, you discovered play, like,
yeah,
like you literally just said that, like,
yeah,
like you discovered play, like you said FE and NE, like it's like that's pretty much what you discovered. Like, sometimes it's okay to make a mess so that you can make sure that your kids are having a good time, everyone's just having fun, and life's not so serious, and
yes.
and it's okay.
Messes and a good time go together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting that you said that. Like, you didn't even, it wasn't rehearsed or anything. Just like it came out, and it's.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I'm really trying to discover that, because it's sad for them when I'm always worried about what might happen next.
Yeah. And then I'm an ENFP, so we're super different. Like, we don't have any functions that are the same at all. But is there anything about my functions that you're curious about that maybe you want some explanation? So I have NE, I have I have TE, and I have SI. So we both have SI and we both have NE. But
Yeah.
I have FI and I have TE. Do you have any questions about functions that maybe you want to know a little bit about before we wrap this up?
Well, I've always really liked ENFPs, and I think that's probably the NE is probably why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just because it's something I'm interested in, you know, and you guys are good at it. But the double deciding, like, does that take any different? Or does it look different than how I've described it for you?
I think you are using double deciding, but you're doing it different than me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like for me, I always look at like, so for you, you want to make sure everyone's feeling good, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's harmony, there's peace, there's no conflict. Like conflict doesn't bother me that much. So when there's a conflict happening, I feel okay actually. Like for me, the most important thing is being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather someone express exactly how they feel rather than try to keep the peace with the tribe. Like I know it sounds bad, but that's kind of like how I feel about it. But I also have TE, right? So I want to make sure that everything works for everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
like yesterday I had dinner with some friends, and um you know, I have an ESFJ friend, and he's completely clueless at like figuring out how to make things work for everyone. But for me, I'm like, okay, well, your schedule looks like this. Like so let's say we're having a party. Um, like we're planning my friend's bachelor party because he's about to get married. So he said, oh, okay, well, I can only make maybe 2 out of 3 days when we go on a road trip on a small getaway. And so I'm planning how we're gonna make it work for everyone, because he was like the odd person might have who might need a special arrangement. Like he needs to have
Mm-hmm.
because we were planning on renting a huge vehicle that fits 8 people, right? So I was thinking, okay, we can't go too far then if you need to leave 1 day early or if you're arriving 1 day late. So we need to make sure you're going to be able to drive there. So I'm thinking, okay, the accommodation needs to be only like 2 hours away then, because otherwise it's going to be too hard on you, you know, so it won't work for you. So like that's kind of like how I'm trying to figure things out, like how it works for everyone. But
Yeah.
like the way people felt about it, like, yeah, I want to make sure that everyone's happy, obviously. But for me, I'm more about like, I'm obsessed with authenticity with the FI. Like, I want to make sure that everyone's being themselves. Like, there's no, and maybe that's how it is for, you know, people with FE. Like, maybe that's why you said, like, when it comes to your family, you're more selfish because, like, it's like, yeah, I know they're going to be there forever, you know, or around for a while. So it's okay to be me, right? Like, so, like, for me, like, I kind of like think, yeah, I should be me at every single situation. I don't need to like change the way I am, you know, for any situation just to maintain harmony, you know. So it's a little bit different in that sense.
Yeah, because I think I would have been worried about your friend getting his feelings hurt if it didn't work for him, you know, or if, yeah, just in some way he would be upset about the way it all worked out.
Well, I was more prioritizing the feeling of the guy that's about to get married, like the guy's,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's his bachelor's party, right? And I know he wants all his friends to be there, you know. So I was doing my best to make sure that we can get this last guy who has like a weirder schedule than the rest of
Yeah,
us. We want to make sure that we can make it work for him so that he can also make it, so that to make the guys about to get married happy,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah.
that's kind of like how I felt about the situation.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Yeah. Just one last comment before we wrap this up. I noticed that you have a very growth mindset. Like, you know, like if you were an ISFJ that didn't want to grow, then maybe like the way you felt about your NE would be different. Like, no, I don't even want to touch that. You know, that thing is bad. But for you, you're like, oh, I really like it. It's like I'm curious about it. You know, so you have like that
Yeah.
open-minded about it. So I think that's helping you grow more as a person, and I think that's gonna
I've
help.
had a lot of ENFPs in my life too. That might have helped.
Oh, I guess they gave it to you. They
Yeah,
like you borrowed some from, like,
yeah.
yeah, my youngest sister, her best friend is also an ISFJ, and they seem to get along just fine. So yeah, it's
It helps.
all right, Claire. Thanks again for doing the interview. This is a big moment for everyone. So for you, for everyone. So it's, you know, uh, really appreciate you know, you coming out and doing the interview. You did it right away too, like just a few days after getting your type back.
Well,
So,
yeah. I don't know. I'll probably come back and think, oh, there's all these different things I've processed now, but
Yeah.
at this moment, this is what I know. So
Yeah. Well, it's still it's a start. It's good.
yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna say goodbye to everyone. So bye everyone. Thanks again, Claire. And I'm gonna stop the recording right now.